those all look incredible. Oh yeah.
Now that I'm standing up for the whole show, I could actually dance a little bit.
Oh, good.
I don't know if I'm going to make 3 hours standing up though. 2 hours I can do, man, but three, I don't know. We're going to be definitely testing the limitations tonight.
You have to sit down during the breaks.
Yeah, I do cheat like that a little bit. Yeah. Nothing wrong with having a little mulligan, you know. Gotta have a little bit of one. I think it kind of helps you to think more clearly, though, if you're standing up and you have more movement with your arms and stuff, and kind of helps a little bit. Like I wouldn't want my face and my body to be seen while I'm doing because I look like Bill Gates with the flailing arms going around, you know.
Yeah. When I worked in sales, if I was ever on the call with a potential customer, I'd be standing up for sure.
Yeah. Pacing back and forth, like working it, you know, all the way down to the very last dollar.
Mm-hmm. And that's like we were trained to do that because it also like the sales manager could see that you're on the call with somebody. Everyone knew you were making a pitch, you know, as well. It was like
yeah. And then you do the big, you know, what's the fist pump when you get it, and everybody around you starts clapping. Maybe not. But.
Yeah, Jerry Maguire. We'd ring the bell. We had a bell you could go ring.
Gotta have that team morale up, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Be nice if they ran businesses that way. Here's what I heard about
really cool.
Mike Lindell, though. Mike Lindell lets his employees leave whenever they want to. If they need to leave for some reason, like a death or, you know, they need some time, and they're paid.
Yeah.
Why do they take time off?
We're back on every platform but Facebook right now, and I'm working on that one. But I'm not really worried about it. And
yeah.
I noticed that we got a few more subscribers on Rumble because we were kind of stuck at that number. I was like, when is that going to grow? And then I looked up and it was up another 7 or 8 subscribers. So that's good.
Yeah. All right. You got 30 seconds.
Okay.
Okay. Oh.
And get ready for the countdown, because here it comes, guys. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you're live and on the radio side right now.
Hello and welcome to the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show Wednesday night edition. And we've got a very special edition of the show tonight to bring you, because as you all know, we're on every Wednesday night at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern for 2 hours, and every Sunday night at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern for 2 hours. But that has all changed. Of course, tonight we are doing a 3-hour show. So we've got 3 of the fastest hours of radio lined up for you tonight. And with me to join in this historic event, Bullhorn Barry. How you doing, Barry?
Hey, man, I'm doing good. And I'm excited about the 3 hours because that means that it's much more likely that the bullhorn will come out.
I hope it does, man.
Not just the intros, you know what I mean? So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And we've reached out. We're going to start bringing some different formats and what not for you guys, so you can fully kind of take advantage of the whole 3 hours that we have to offer you and make sure we bring in a little variety to it and cover different things. Heck, we might even do a comedy segment on Wednesday night now that we've got all this extra airtime. And I know Willie is always down for a challenge, so that could be a lot of fun. Let's see. You want to dive into some news here, Barry? You ready?
Do it. Yeah.
All right. From the Gateway Pundit, plot twist. Young Chiefs fan falsely accused of wearing blackface by Deadspin writer has been revealed, and there's a huge twist to the story. So you guys, you know the background on this, Barry?
Yeah, a little bit, but go ahead, man, and refresh my memory a little bit.
Okay, so a writer from Deadspin is a obscure sports website, I guess is the best way to put it. His name is Karen Phillips, Carron, but it might as well just be Karen Phillips. Went ahead and found there's this pretty well-known fan of the Chiefs. Been to a lot of games. He always shows up, young kid, maybe, I don't know, probably just getting close to 10 years old. And he shows up with this beautiful Indian headdress. And he always wears the clothes. His family, manages to get them pretty darn good seats where, they're up front and some of the players kind of know who they are and see them around and are friendly with them. He had a picture of him with a bunch of cheerleaders on one of the sites I saw, and they, look, the kid's living the good life, right? He's living
the dream.
He's balling.
Yeah.
And in the latest game, when they played in Oakland, he showed up and he painted half his face black and half his face orange to celebrate his team, the Kansas City Chiefs. And one of this Deadspin writer, I want to call him. I can't call him a journalist, right? He's a writer. Saw a picture where they just got his profile and you could only see the left side of his face, which was painted black. And he came out and said, wow, look at this racist kid doing blackface at a sports game while wearing an Indian headdress. What an insult. What an insult to black people. What an insult to Native Americans. What an insult to everyone in the world. Look how bad football fans are, and this kid especially racist. Okay? And then there was a back and forth on the interwebs where people called him out and he came back and doubled down again, and you name it, back and forth. Well, I have the ultimate twist. The ultimate twist of the story. This kid's father sits on the chair as a chair member for the Native American tribe that he's a member of in Santa Ynez, California. Okay? It's a Chumash tribe. His grandfather's on the Chumash tribe board in Santa Ynez. Let's see, there's a picture of him at the Super Bowl, yada, yada, yada. The kid's Native American. Okay? So the headdress part, the writer said this is akin to someone putting on a sombrero and getting wasted on Cinco de Mayo. Well, no. This is him. And you know why he's a Chiefs fan? Because they're Native Americans, and it's the Chiefs. That's why they're his favorite team.
But why wouldn't you want to wear a headdress anyway? I mean, it's the kind of it's the whatever. It's the, what do you call it's who they are.
Team's logo?
Team logo, team whatever. Why wouldn't you want to show your support of the team? I'm baffled by the wokeness. I really am. I don't get it at all. And wasn't the other side of his face just the color of the team?
Yeah, it was orange. Half black, half orange. Of course, they only found that profile picture that showed the black half of his face, so it would be easy to trick someone to think that this kid was dressed up in blackface at a football game. Good luck with that in 2023.
They're so anxious to see something, right? I mean, to sort of fuel this wild conspiracy that there's this systemic racism happening in America when it's not, and there is not systemic racism. There probably is in other countries, but not in America. And I'm not saying there's not racism, but there's no such thing as systemic racism in America. That's ridiculous. And they're looking for something. I mean, they will say that a brown paper bag is racist, and they have, because they have no facts to back up their false narratives, because they really do want us divided. And they don't treat black people that are conservatives the same way. I mean, they're racist when it comes to black conservatives. They literally call them the black face of white supremacy. Now, that is so racist. They don't care about black people. They probably are more racist on the left than the right. I can assure you of that.
Yeah, look at Clarence Thomas. Look at anyone who stands up for conservative voices who happens to be black is demonized to the nth degree, as hard as you can. Candace Owens, anyone. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, they call them all the racist names. I won't even repeat them. They're so bad.
Oh, yeah. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to them, and to anybody who follows them and believes the garbage they spew, really. Let's be clear about it. It's just an embarrassment to our nation, to them, to everyone. But, they do it anyway because they get the people in their tribes, quote unquote, their social tribes, believe it. It gives them clicks. It gives them ticks. And they want to get that hot, sweet, sweet Twitter money from Elon.
Yeah. Yeah. And they just might be a little bit mentally ill and slightly delusional and deranged, but that's kind of a side issue, Just
yeah.
I mean, what really leads, to this virtue signaling is a big question that's kind of has a question mark at the end of it. I don't know that anybody really knows because it's sort of a derangement and it's delusional and it never makes any sense, So, and they're so anxious to find it. And then they even pick on a little boy. Look, he's got male masculinity already, and he's only 10, and he's white. Oh, he's a terrible person. I mean, they're willing to literally, like they did to Barron Trump, right? I mean, they just literally throw him in the wood chipper, right? And they have no respect for children. If they did, they would secure the border, right?
Fentanyl, at least. The fentanyl. I mean, it's crazy. We live in where, like, you go out and somebody's like, hey, I got some Vicodin, you got a headache, here, take one of these. It'll get rid of it. Boom, it's just with fentanyl, you're dead.
Yeah, it doesn't take a lot to kill somebody.
Yeah, back in the day, that was unheard of. Somebody gave you a Vicodin, it was a Vicodin that somebody got with a script, and it was, relatively safe to take. You knew it was going to happen. You weren't just going to die. Now, anything like that can just kill you at a moment's notice.
Yeah, and they're making new drugs with the fentanyl, mixing it with other drugs, and I think that's what they call the zombie drug. They can walk around like they're literally a zombie or hunch over in one position and can just stay there for an hour or two without even moving, just kind of, barely, just breathing and hunched over. I've never seen anything like it.
They stand up with their knees sort of locked straight and then hang over. It looks like they're about to fall over and crack their head open at any second.
Yeah.
Right. I would have a hard time bending over and hanging like that in that position for much more than about a minute or so, 30 seconds before my head would, go dizzy and I would fall over and crack my head, So I don't know how to do it. True zombie drugs.
It is a zombie drug, and it causes these big holes in their skin and their flesh. These giant lesions. It's like a flesh eating thing. If you do too much of it, it eats your flesh.
So bad.
And then, of course, it gets infected because, they don't always treat these people at the hospital. And when they do, they just throw them out on the street again. I know you've heard about that as well, where they take these homeless people. They don't care about the homeless people. Not in these liberal cities, they don't. I mean, look, we talked about this before where Gavin Newsom, he cleaned up the city, and made it acceptable, for who? Not for the people, but for Xi Jinping, the dictator.
Yeah, exactly. So it is what it is, and we live in a crazy upside-down world where 2 + 2 is 5 sometimes, folks. It just is. So let's stay on this topic here. Have you guys seen this, Barry, have you seen the new preview for the show Lady Ballers?
I have. I can't recall the whole thing, but I have seen it.
It's a transgender basketball movie. Ted Cruz has a small role in it.
No. Is it really?
Yeah. It's a new feature-length comedy that mocks transgender women competing in against other women in sports. It's done by who is it?
Ben Shapiro.
No, Daily Color. Yeah, Daily Wire. Okay, Daily Wire, and they are putting this out. They're the ones that have put out a number of different movies recently. They've got an infusion of big bucks. I want to say 100 million or so to make a series of different movies and, especially children's programming. Mm-hmm. They put out a version of Snow White.
That's probably true to the storyline, right? More true to the storyline.
And it had Brent Cooper, if you know who she is. Okay. The comment section with Brent Cooper. As Snow White. And it looked pretty good. I didn't see it, but
she's a YouTube influencer, right? Or am I wrong?
Yeah, she's like a little female Ben Shapiro.
Okay.
Same kind of energy, wire, there's a lot there.
A lot in common. She's the female version.
If it's his daughter, I would be like, oh, that makes sense. Or they were related some way.
Does she talk that fast as Ben?
Yeah, she's like on like the same kind of mentality and same, quick thinking and fast pace, all that. Yeah. But it looks to be really funny. And the trick is here, I guess this was inspired by Joe Rogan, who at one point said, like, the Daily Caller was about the only organization in America who could actually sit down and make a comedy today, an actual comedy. We have movies that come out that they call them comedies, but you couldn't make Blazing Saddles. You couldn't make any Mel Brooks movie today. None of them. Right? There are so many classic movies that are funny. Let's go down the line. There's so many out there that you just could not make today because they'd be deemed offensive on every level. Pretty much. So they took up the challenge and raised some money, and now they're kicking out these types of comedies. You don't even have to go far back in time.
There. Hello. Lost you.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
And
lost
I guess
you. Where did you go?
A group of guys get together their high school football team, and they decide they want to go make some money, and so they become an official women's basketball team, and they just start going out and crushing it. Because they were good in high school, so they come out now and they're just like they crush it.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. And so I don't know how far they make it in the NBA or what. I just know they, go out and win. Lady ballers, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's encouraging to see someone go out there.
You have to make fun of the insanity, right? I mean, the best way to really expose the insanity is to mock it and to make complete and total fun of it. And then people will kind of get it.
Mm-hmm. Unless they start crying. The other side's going to start crying. And when they cry... You mock them for crying. You make memes about them crying when they cry. That's how you win the culture war. You mock them till they cry and then make memes about them crying.
Yeah, but they admit they do this crazy stuff. Like, what's the Kathy Griffin? She's kind of a C- actress, comedian.
Yeah.
And she basically, to deal with Trump derangement syndrome, she moos like a cow and literally meows like a cat. I can see her at home now. I mean, walking around like somebody in a mental institute, meowing and mooing. I mean, these people are not dealing. That's why I say it is really kind of mental illness, man. It's delusions and derangements and mental illness. And I'm not saying that's the case across the board, but some of these people are not like a Cher and a Kathy Griffin and a Barbara Streisand. They may not be dealing with a full deck.
And so many of them now are threatening to leave the country if Trump wins again. And yet they never do it before. They've never done it. Come on now.
That's going to stop people from voting for Trump. Oh, Barbara Streisand said she might leave the country. I can't vote for Trump. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, right? Like, it's so important that she lives in Beverly Hills where I'll never see her versus, the south coast of France where I'll never see her,
And she doesn't even perform anymore. I think she had her last concert. But they do have all these people that are old, that have been around for a long time performing. They always have a final tour, which ends up being like 10 times.
Yeah, exactly. They milk that for every penny they can.
Exactly. Yes.
Versus again, Dolly Parton, pure class on that stage during the half-time show in Dallas.
I heard about it. I like Dolly Parton. I'd like to see her come out and denounce the vax since she pushed it. She pushed it hard too. Unfortunately, because I think she's not. I don't see her as being one of those establishment stooges, but I think maybe she just was like conned into it. She bought the lie. I mean, I'd like to think that about her. I can't imagine that she thought that it would really be harmful.
Well, she's also got Dollywood and all the live performances and everything that go along with that type of environment. So on some level, as a business person, you have to say, hey, like at least wear the mask and whatnot. I don't want to open myself up to be sued by every single person that comes in here and gets a cold a month later.
Mhm.
You know. So, but yeah, it's refreshing to see someone like that age with grace versus what like a Madonna has done. Sorry, Madonna, man, you were the cat's meow back in the 80s. You know, back in the 80s, boy, you were the bad girl with those cute little gloves and those outfits and. But somewhere along the way, you just lost your way, young lady.
The way. Something happened. It's called plastic surgery. That's what happened.
Yeah,
bad
lots of
plastic
it.
surgery.
On top of bad plastic surgery, on top of bad plastic surgery, yeah. Like layers and layers to try to fix the previous levels, and you know. And what they need to go in is just Control Z, and just get in there and start over.
I wouldn't rule out probably, you know, if they get those silicone masks down, some of them will probably just choose that route. If they get them down pretty good, you know.
Mm-hmm. Well, they need the, remember in the Jetsons, they had those little masks, because they had the telephone calls, or the, you know, the FaceTime, basically in the Jetsons. Where when your phone rang, you walked up to it. So they had a little mask they'd draw on, so they looked made up when they weren't. Remember that?
Yeah, I do. There's a thing right now I think it's in China, where they have created this like hat that people wear, and it has a little LCD projector above it, and it produces another person's face on your face, so you can't be identified by all the cameras. And you can't be tracked and surveilled. So you can literally be walking down the street with somebody else's face on your face projected through a projection screen, a tiny one that's in the hat. And I think that would be a good way to sort of fight the system if you were in a totalitarian regime like that. Of course, they'll probably make that an act of terrorism and a felony and 20 years in jail. But
exactly, highly illegal. They treat it like body armor. Like, why is body armor so illegal? I mean, it's body armor. It's purely defensive. Why? You know, talk about it like it's the worst thing you could ever possibly have in your possession. Yet body armor, he must have been planning something. Well, no, you know, there's people breaking into your house. You throw on your vest really quick and go investigate with your handy, you know, 45 by the side.
Or if you're a popular person and people hate you, you might not want to go out in public without some sort of a bodysuit on.
Oh, absolutely.
Body armor.
Yeah. An Alex Jones or some celebrity like that, boy.
Yeah.
You got to wonder how many celebrities going to red carpet events have body armor on underneath their tuxedos. I know the women don't, because they pretty much show you the inside of their hoo-hoo every time they go on, you know, with their outfit of choice. It's like... So, yeah, that's a interesting dichotomy there to see how people treat defensive things like that. But yeah, to be able to hide your face in public, or at least make it so that people can't just scan you and mark everything you do. If you want to, you know, go have an affair and you don't want your wife to know, you leave your phone at home, you put one of those on and you go do your thing and come home, and, you know, it should be none the wiser. Not that I condone that or think anyone should do that, but you get my point. There would be legal reasons why someone might want to do something like that. There's just so many. It's your business where you go and walk and what you do. If you're in London right now, there's so many cameras that they can track you and everything you do. Yeah. Tie it back into your cell phone, and you can't get away from any of that. Where are you going to go? How are you going to hide from that?
Yeah. So, and it makes you wonder what kind of people would want to know every aspect about yourself, everywhere you go, everything you do, these are like mega control freaks. Yeah, massive control freaks. And people go, well, the world's just not safe anymore. Well, yeah, because you guys, the same people that want to scan, surveil you, and track you 24/7, they're the ones that created all the problems. They're the ones that are inciting people to violence through the mainstream media with their social engineering of divide and conquer. So that's why they do it too. And then they go, see, it's that same, you know, problem, reaction, solution thing. They create the problem and they go, well, we don't want to do it, but we're going to have to because it's just not safe anymore. Well, yeah, but if you quit inciting people to violence and pitting everybody against each other, and things mellowed out, we wouldn't have any problems and things would go back to normal. But they don't want things to go back to normal, because the new normal is doom and gloom. The new normal is crazy. The new normal is everything we talked about last Sunday. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really is. And we've got so much coming down the pipeline as far as what they want to do versus where they are. I mean, the digital currencies are coming. The social credit scores are coming sooner than you think, folks. It's much, much sooner than you think. They're already in development. They're already getting ready to start releasing these in different parts of the world. It's coming. And they're going to be able to track what you say and do and where you go and deem you to be too carbon intensive. You're too offensive. You're too edgy. You say the wrong things. You question the mask. You question the vaccine. You question too much. You're not listening to the mainstream media and the Ministry of Truth of the United States of American government, the Ministry of Truth that they're looking to create and build and put known liars in charge of. People who've, what's her, Nina Jankowicz, or I forget her, a known liar. She did her little Mary Poppins song about, MAGA so people, and it was so bad. And you are going to tap that person to run the Ministry of Truth in America?
And what's that? What a shame. Which book is that from? Is that from 1984 or Brave New World? The Ministry of Truth.
Right. It's from the Book of Biden. The Book of Biden, term 1. You want another term, folks? Should we go back for another double dip on the Biden ice cream? No, I don't think so. I think we're good with one scoop of that garbage. No, thank you.
Well, you
we
remember
got
how we
5 seconds.
Okay, go ahead.
Where do you go? Okay. All right, I'll take us out. Folks, we've got to go to break. We'll be right back after this. Hold that thought, Barry.
All right, we are on Radio Break.
Yeah, I was just going to mention how the Christmas tree fell over, and that's never happened before, ever, in the history of the White House. And just like, remember how I was given the analogy about like Carney just not upkeeping their equipment and just the screws getting loose? I mean, that is like the Liberal Party right now. And everything that they do is just collapsing, even their own Christmas tree. And I see these things, and maybe they're not signs from God, but I see them as signs. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like when New York City had that blackout. It was right when they were starting to lose their mind and going crazy. And I was like, that's a sign, man. I mean, that's symbolic, dude. And that kind of stuff happens like all the time now. I mean, maybe it is a coincidence, but isn't it odd how it happens at the exact time? Or maybe we just notice it now because things are so crazy. I don't know. But the Christmas tree just plain old fell over. Collapse. Can't even put up a Christmas tree right. And then they had these decorations that look like coronavirus balls. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
I was like, what is that about?
Yeah, crazy stuff, man. Like, why? Why go there? That's like when the Olympics in London had the big, giant, like, viruses and needles and stuff running around on the stage.
Oh, yeah. What was that, the
with that demonic creature?
Yeah,
like that.
Big black death coming down and the black Mary Poppins coming down with
the Denver airport. The Denver airport, man.
Yeah,
Chimeras all over that thing.
Everything they do is like deep and dark and devilish. It's weird, man. It's like
oh yeah.
Oh, and then was that underground thing was the same way. I think that was in Sweden. They built that underground tunnel and they had that weird ritual afterwards. Yeah, they do these weird stuff, man. Cosmopolitan just had a deal on their Instagram talking about how to do a proper satanic abortion ceremony, and there's actually an abortion clinic that does it for Satanists. So I was like, okay.
Oh my God.
Wow, they just come straight out and tell it now.
Hey, there's a major in UC Berkeley you can take that gets into that. You can major in that. Satanic abortions.
Oh, like to get a shout out to my Nickel and Sully Adams over on Twitch and Kick. Or Kick and Twitch. something like that. Yeah.
Sounds
Take
like
your
a
twitch.
MMA
your pick.
fight. It's an MMA move. You kick the guy and he starts twitching.
Depends on where you kick him, if you know what I mean.
Oh my God! Don't go there.
I'm just saying.
No,
Those
it's
low
okay.
blows.
We're on break. We're on the break. We can say
Those
that.
low blows, man, they hurt. Just ask Joe Biden. He's always giving those low blows to us, man. Boom! Arresting people. Putting him in jail for walking around the stupid Capitol peacefully. Giving them 10 years. Denying them a fast trial. Torturing them while they're in prison. Turns out Owen Schroyer is only getting one meal a day. He's in solitary confinement 24/7. He's allowed a shower 3 times a week for 15 minutes.
Hold that thought. and
30
we'll come back with that.
seconds.
We've gone through one article so far, which is great. 16 more to go.
Nice. You did it for 20 minutes at least.
Heck, we can do this with Owen Schroyer now. Although it'll probably lap over with a bunch of other.
And get ready for the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you're live.
Welcome back to the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show, Wednesday night edition. Tonight I've got with me Barry. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, doing great, man.
Yeah. You were talking about Owen Schroyer, famous from his work with Infowars.com.
That's correct. Yeah, Alex was talking about it on the show today that he's in solitary confinement pretty much 24/7. He is allowed 3 15-minute showers, or 15 minutes to take a shower 3 times a week, and 1 meal per day. So I'm imagining when he gets out of prison, he's going to be looking a little gaunt. He's going to be looking a little bit famished and frail, and perhaps a little weak, you know. And that food that you in prison, man, I don't think there's a lot of nutrition in it to begin with. So, and I would imagine that the portions are small.
Yeah. This reminds me of Tommy Robinson. Remember when, like, he could only eat tuna from the canteen because every time anybody brought him food, it was just like they'd spit all over it. The whole cafeteria would spit on it, and before they send it there, because they're all Muslims, so they hated his guts. It was, you know, when he came out of there, he looked horrible. I'm sure Owen's getting the same treatment. He's going to come out of there looking rough, but he only got 60 days. He's doing this for 60 days. That's a big deal, considering he had nothing to do with January 6th, and they're only putting him in jail in this torture-type treatment because they want to make an example out of him, like Enrique Tarrio, who, again, was nowhere near the Capitol on January 6th. I don't even know if he was in the city of Washington, D.C. or the district of D.C. when everything went down, but they gave him 20-some years because they said he was one of the key instigators or planners of it when, you know, there were actual people, Ray Epps, you know, was seen on video out there saying, we need to go into the Capitol, right? You can't just go, we got to go in. And then he texts his nephew and says, I made that happen. We did it. You know, Yahoo, we got it to happen. Mission accomplished kind of thing. You know?
Well, Joe Biggs said it basically was equated to like a, how did he word it? A conspiracy of silence. Like there was a conspiracy without any words being spoken. So I don't know how you conspire to do something without sitting at the table and talking about it, you know, and hashing it out. So it's basically like a thought crime, a collective thought crime. Like everybody collectively thought at the same time, we're going to do this. And it's totally nuts, man.
Yeah. You know, they just want to throw the book at as many people as they possibly can because it makes this January 6th thing seems so much more real and credible. And look at all the people in jail. Well, look at all the people in jail for what? What exactly did that grandmother do when she walked in there for 2 minutes and took a selfie? What exactly was the harm there, right? Okay, AOC was scared. Oh, you're 2 buildings over and you got security. You know, you thought your security guy was coming to kill you. That's scared.
Mhm.
It's called paranoia. It's called self-absorbed.
Yeah, I mean,
You
she
know?
blatantly lied, and she knew she was lying when she was saying all that stuff. And think about what kind of a slime bag you have to be to really add to the divide and conquer to that degree. You know what I'm saying? Because when she did that, that angered more people on the left. You know, just made them want to beat us up for no reason, you know. And that happens a lot where just, you know, conservatives get kicked out of restaurants. They're confronted all the time. Sometimes, remember when Trump won, people got beat down for voting for Trump. Like literally got the crap beat out of them.
Yeah, I remember that. He voted Trump. You vote, get him. You vote Trump. Remember that video? Yeah.
Or if you had a MAGA cap on, they would confront you in the coffee shop, knock the cap off you and bow up to you like, come on, man, let's go. It's like, easy, man. I voted for Trump. Lighten up.
Yeah. Call you a Nazi, and it's like, well, wait a minute, I'm Jewish. Like, why are you calling me a Nazi? Like, you know? But that's the upside down world. I mean, you know, what made the Nazis so bad? They wanted to kill a race of people. They wanted to take over the world. Well, yeah, okay. Who are we fighting now that wants to kill a race of people? Hamas, maybe? So who, you know, which one is more closely aligned to Nazis? On which side of the aisle, right? I don't know.
Anyway, they're the ones that are acting like Nazis by doing that. I mean, they really are Nazis. A lot of them. I mean, that's just the way that it is. I mean, the very thing that they project onto us is who they are. We've said that a million times before. It's obvious, you know, and they're not peaceful at all. I mean, they are always violent in some form or fashion. Maybe not like hitting you or pepper spraying you or putting a milkshake on you, cement milkshake. But they're always like in your face with vulgarity, spitting on you, screaming at you. And there's never a moment where you can even talk to them peacefully. Remember the one guy that was talking to the transgender and he just went to attacking the guy, beating the living crap out of him. The transgender guy.
It's ma'am. It's ma'am. There's that one too. There's so many instances of it, but I don't know.
And it's going to happen again. Is it not going
to
to happen again, though? Seriously, think about it. If Trump wins again, are we going to go through this whole thing again where, you know, everybody loses their mind again?
I don't think as much this next time around. I mean, we're seeing the black vote going, the latest polls are putting black Americans at 22% support of Trump.
Yeah, that's one poll. 8. Some polls have them up higher than that, like 49%, like the Rasmussen one. So. And I trust the Rasmussen one more. If
Hispanics and blacks and whatnot are starting to come around and vote for him, how can you say everyone who votes for him is racist when he has such support from POC?
I guess my main concern is agent provocateurs, where they're paid to go out there and cause trouble. And that's why I feel like you know, Trump is going to have to arrest these people that are doing that. And we could name some names, but that might be a little dangerous. So I'll just leave it to your imagination, the radio crowd out there, who some of these players might be.
I want to get to the White House decorations, but first, before we go there, I want to talk about something I did the other night, which was I really sat down and watched a lot of the video that came out of Ireland about the quote-unquote riots that were happening over there. And you talk about agent provocateurs. I was seeing what looked to me like Antifa operatives in the tip of the spear there, lighting things on fire, doing a lot of the really bad things that made it look horrible. You know, they were clad in all black with black face masks. It was just classic Antifa garb.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That sounds exactly like Antifa. Not like that. Doesn't sound like conservatives.
Well, I had to wonder, you know, I mean, with all this Conor McGregor stuff and everything going on there with the hate speech laws that they're trying to quickly pass. Would it be feasible for them to try to get out real quick in front of that and make this, anyone protesting what happened when they know it was, hey, everyone's going to freak out. This is a migrant that stabbed 3-4 kids, you know, and an innocent teacher in a school ground, right, in broad daylight. People are going to freak out. We got to get in front of this. So people go out that night to sort of protest, and bam, let's burn stuff down. Let's get out there in front of it and make them look as bad as possible.
Yeah. I would imagine a lot of those agent provocateurs are on call. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. Well, they work for 40, 60 hours a week for the people paying them. They're not, on call. Yeah, no, they're on the job. That's what they do. You think all the tan suits and the FBI lookalikes at these marches and rallies are coincidence, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But Conor McGregor's got their number, man. Barry, are you hearing an echo of my voice?
I am hearing that, yeah.
And that's Mark, our producer, is lighting up.
No,
when that
I'm
happens.
not hearing anything over here.
Okay.
But you're lighting up and we're hearing it. So I'll just quickly mention that. Anyway, Conor McGregor's got their number. I'll tell you what, it's going to be really interesting to see them push any type of freedom of speech or hate charges on him for what he said. We're at war. We need to correct this. What are you going to do about it? Asking him, what are you? They just refuse to even acknowledge him. They're not going to answer and tell him what they're going to do about it because they're not going to do anything about it.
Yeah, I
They're
mean,
going to bring in more migrants.
In the liberal world order, you're not going to be allowed, if they get the liberal world order, you're not going to be allowed to dissent. You're not going to be able to question your government. You're not going to be able to have a complaint, air out your grievances. That's not going to be the system that they're putting into place. And they're doing it all around the world. They're even doing it in America with the tech giants. Censorship, canceling, debanking, banning, that's all precursors to something more severe, such as prison time. So that's their next step, is to basically take us to hate speech crimes. That's the next phase, where you spend, 5-10 years in jail for saying something they didn't want you to say.
Oh,
and
having a meme on your
fee,
phone.
maybe $500,000 fine as well on top.
Having a meme on your phone. Somebody sends you a meme, you never even maybe looked at it, but there it is. Boom, that's enough. You go to jail. That's the draconian level of hate speech laws that Ireland is looking to put in place. And, good luck with, I don't think that's going to fly for a minute.
I hope not.
But, yeah, I hope not too. But they can try. It just shows you what they're about. Shows you what they're made of.
Playing their cards. They're showing us who they are. They're showing us that they're slime bags, and they really want to control everything, man. They don't want you to have any freedoms whatsoever. None. Zero emissions, zero freedom, zero life. That is the mind of a globalist.
But if this gets to the next level and Conor McGregor decides to run for office, I think he would win in a landslide. And
because he's a fighter, and people like that. Even though he's imperfect, he's a fighter, and people want fighters right now. And if you notice, all the people that are rising to the top in the freedom conservative movement and the libertarian movement, they're all people that you would never usually see as a politician. They're a little rough around the edges. They're a little flamboyant, a little outspoken, But that's what we need right now to counter these psychopaths.
Yeah,
we need someone that's brave. We need someone that can fight.
Yeah, and a guy like Conor, you can trust. No, he's looking out for your best interest. He's not going to turn around and stab you in the back and sell out to somebody. He's got his money. He doesn't need it. He's already rich. The people that walk in there and sell you, they're looking to make that bank, that Conor McGregor bank, So, I don't know. It's interesting to see, and that to me is a really fascinating turn of play in Ireland because, boy, I love to see him run for office. I would love to see the debates. I'd love to see each of it. I think half the world would be hanging on that campaign and watching every move because let's face it, we would cover it. Every time he blinked, I would cover it, It's just good radio. It's good content.
And Ireland's completely down with the globalist green agenda. They're the slaughtering, tens of thousands of cows, or at least they're planning to meet green emission goals and so forth. I mean, we need someone like a Conor to go in there and say, man, we're not playing your global warming hoax crap anymore. Not anymore. Okay. That is nothing but a control mechanism. That's all it is. There is no such thing as global warming in the degree that they paint it, as if it's some sort of scenario. If we don't get it under control, we're all going to die 5 more years or 10 more years or whatever it is that they're saying these days. It's a lie, dude. It is a blatant lie, just like all the lies that Al Gore made in his stupid documentary that he made, that none of that stuff came to pass that he said would come to pass. None of it.
An inconvenient truth. And boy, the real inconvenient truth about that movie is that nothing came true.
Exactly. No, you're right.
That's the most tragic and inconvenient truth from that story, but I digress. And here's another interesting thing to keep in mind, folks, is that a lot of the arrivals, when we see the people getting on the buses and being moved around in Europe, they're all males. They're all men in their 20s.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Not all, but the vast majority.
Portion. Yeah, a big portion.
Yeah. They've got smokes, they've got iPhones, they've got, you know, all the accoutrements you would want on a travel like that, yet they're all, you know, seemingly single men. Now, I would guess that a big chunk of them are married with families back at home to some degree, some number of children. And their plan is to get established in Ireland, in the UK, in France, wherever, get established, and then bring over the family. Once you get your set up and you're there, oh, this is my wife and kids. Oh, well, of course they can come. So now, for every one that you're seeing come in, there's 4 more, 3, 4, 5 more. If you start getting parents and aunts and uncles and whatnot behind them, it multiplies out. You're not just importing one person. You're importing 5 for every one you see getting off that bus. And that is going to change Ireland into something that, I mean, you would never even consider calling it Ireland in 40 years from now if that plan goes into effect and stays on course of where it is now. It will not. The only thing that'll look like Ireland there is it'll be really green. But other than that, nothing. You know, I mean, they're famous beers and whiskeys and what. Sharia law, you can't have that. You know, on and on. Everything that's them what they are is gone.
Well, the globalists are good, and they're very successful at making things worse. Very successful at collapsing things, bringing in chaos, bringing in crime, bringing in division, and then they get to pose as the saviors. But when they do that, it's always authoritarian. It's always us giving up our freedoms. You know, the whole shtick.
Sadly, I do. They can't build anything. They can only tear it down, which is, you know, or borrow. Let's just borrow more money. 34 trillion in debt. Let's go there. Okay. All right. Let's bring up another article I got while I'm on this here. The United States right now is spending about $450 billion a year on illegal immigrants. $500 billion a year is being spent to food, house, shelter, you name it, illegal immigrants in the United States that by all measures shouldn't be here. Remain in Mexico took care of all this. If they'd have finished the wall. Now the wall, they wanted $5 billion to build the wall. So every year we're spending 100 times what that wall would have cost.
Yeah, that wall was basically chump change.
Chump change, absolutely. Perfect way to put it. It compared to $500 billion a year. When we are 34 trillion in debt, we cannot afford to live the way we're living now. As America, folks, our government will collapse. It's not a matter of would it, might it, well, it's going to financially implode.
When is it going to happen? That's the only question is when. And here's the thing. How much money do you think? I bet it's not even 1/100th of that, you know, $500 billion has Biden invested into small businesses in America, because we lost 60% of all businesses that never reopened again because of the lockdowns.
Yeah. And
how come we're not stimulating our economy? How come we're not helping? I mean, the middle class, the small business owner is a part of the backbone of America. And they're killing it, man, because they're trying to do away with the middle class and just have 2 classes, the haves and the have-nots. They want to level America down to the rest of the world so that nobody has the vision of having prosperity. Again, you will eat the bugs and you will love it. You will own nothing and you will love it. You will live in poverty. We will control everything. We will tell you where you can travel, when you can travel, and how far you can. These are control freaks that must be stopped.
Yeah, the green agenda is their backbone. It's what makes them tech and makes them think they can get away with all this, because they're trying to convince enough people that the world's about to end. The sky is falling. The sky is literally falling. Look up, you can see it falling. Global warming is the sky, and it is falling, and you're all going to die if you don't do what I say. It's Chicken Little. It's exactly Chicken Little. You know?
Yep.
So They're just trying to convince enough people that that's the way, and they can still keep going down this path. But it's evil. It's evil. It's built on a giant lie. They won't look at nuclear. That's how you know it's evil, because they won't look at the one solution, nuclear power, that would fix this tomorrow. It's clean. It's green. It's ready to go. But we haven't built any of it up in decades and decades and decades. If you want to run every single car and every single building and every single oven and every single heater in every home, all of it on electric, man, we better be investing in something right now in much, much, much bigger scale than solar or wind. I remember reading an article once about, like, it would take like almost half the land on the West Coast. Picture like Arizona, Utah, Nevada, Southern California, covered end to end, top to bottom, in solar panels to generate the electricity we would need to run this country.
Mm-hmm.
It's that kind of land. I mean, just visible when you think of it like that.
Yeah, I mean, even the solutions that they offer are completely insufficient, and they know that, but that's because they want everything to collapse, because they have to collapse everything to get control of everybody, because this, at the end of the day, is about control. It really is. I know a lot of people have a hard time accepting that, but we're dealing with control freaks. It's been this way throughout history. Just read your history books. Empires want to control things. Well, now we have a globalist global empire of a few select globalists from around the world in every nation that wants to control all of us. Absolutely. So this is like the ultimate empire, right?
And think of all the lithium and all the rare earths and whatnot that would have to be mined to cover that big of a landmass with solar. It's completely unfeasible, and yet they're not even looking at the ways you could actually fix this, which is nuclear energy. I don't see any other way. I mean, possibly some wave technology where you can capture the energy of the ocean under the water. I've seen some really interesting things like that could scale pretty amazingly. But then they would point to the fish and whatnot, and that's the biggest irony of it all. Even putting in the grid, the backbone of the infrastructure, the energy grid that we would need to have in place to run that kind of electricity to power all these needs, you'll never get the permits to do that, because the environmentalists will get in the way and they'll make it impossible to even build the grid that you need to put electrical power where it needs to be to power all this stuff. It's, that's the beauty of gasoline. That's the beauty of gasoline. That's a lot of energy in a gallon of gas. But you can take anywhere you want, put it on the scene, and off you go. You don't need to have a power lines. You don't need to have anything.
I mean, just imagine
if put it in and go.
If the global elite from around the world just got focused for 10 years on the stuff that was important, ending poverty, extreme poverty. I'm not talking about just general poverty, but poverty, getting water, clean water to everybody, just building infrastructure. Just 10 years they focused in on that. We didn't have any wars, bogus wars, weren't funding crazy woke stuff. We just focused in on everybody and making the world a better place. Just 10 years of focus, what we could achieve with the knowledge that we have and the technology that we have. But no, they just want to make things worse and more crazy and more chaotic. And that ain't going to cut it, man. That is not, it's all going to come tumbling down at some point. Let's just hope that once it does, when we rebuild it better, not worse.
Yeah, Mr. Beast went down to Africa and built like 100 different wells in areas that really needed it. Villages where you'd walk 2-3 hours to go get water. So every day you have to spend the first 2 hours of your day walking an hour each way to get the water that you need for the day.
That many times full of parasites and causes disease and illness and sickness.
So he built them really deep, clean drinking water wells that were right out their front door. They could just walk out there. Now they got the water. They're good to go. What did the world do when they saw that? They shunned it out. The left said, this is no good. This is racism. You're showing how easy it is to do what we've never been able to do.
Yeah.
You're showing that you can just pick up a phone and make all this happen. No, you can't. You got to buy the well digging machines. You got to hire infrastructure. You got to hire 1,000 people. No, you don't.
Yeah. They want to pretend like to make real change world. It's very complicated. No, Trump disproved that one. You know, he disproved that one really quick. He did everything as fast as you could possibly imagine. He even brought peace in North Korea. Obama told him that would be his biggest threat. Even Bush Jr. had said that the greatest axis of evil was North Korea. So in a matter of just a couple of meetings, phone calls, face-to-face meeting, good old Rocket Man was in submission.
Mm-hmm. And that's where he wanted to be. I mean, he'd rather be on our good side than our bad side. Trust me.
Oh, yeah.
Anyone would. Why wouldn't you?
But you look at all the globalists, they all say we can never negotiate with somebody who's a terrorist or somebody who's a bad guy or somebody who's a dictator, unless, of course, they're our friendly dictator. Then that's okay, like Xi Jinping. We can deal with him because he's our friendly dictator. I mean, it's all nonsense. If you don't understand how evil these people are, you're going to be continually lost as things keep getting worse and worse, and you're not going to be able to understand it. You have to understand that these are people that are so diabolical that they make Jeffrey Dahmer look like a saint.
Yeah, and what do you do, folks? What do we do on a day-to-day basis? We just got to kind of sit back and be aware that this is going on. Just kind of know what's happening. Talk to your friends about it. Talk to your family about it. Barry, you talked to your whole family on Thanksgiving, and they were they said they really wanted to hear it, and they were super interested, right?
Not exactly.
Oh, no? Huh.
Basically, everything I said was off topic. They want to talk sports. They want to talk, football. They want to talk, basketball. They want to talk. They don't want to talk about anything serious.
Yeah. Huh. You didn't just dive right into religion and politics, right?
That's me.
And COVID vaccines and yep.
You got it. But you know what? I'm not like, I wish that wasn't the world we lived in right now, but somebody's got to speak up. Somebody's got to let their voice be heard. I want to be fighting before the fighting begins. And I mean the peaceful fighting that's coming, the non-violent fighting. I don't mean anything violent. Well,
the talking, the making people aware of what's going on. And that's what we can do, folks. We can do that because it's what needs to happen at this point is just educating people on the things we're talking about. But we have to go to break. We'll be right back after this.
And we're on radio break.
Love your cynicism, though, man. It's so funny. That's so true, though. No, yeah. I was so loved over everything I said. It was wonderful. I was told to never bring up the word Trump again.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And look, I don't even think Trump is perfect, man. I mean, I just talk about what I know he's going to do when he comes back. I'm still going to have issues with Trump. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He's not perfect, but by goodness, man, compare him to what the liberals and the rhinos are trying to do to our nation. He's like, it's like night and day. He's imperfect. He's got some issues. He's got a big ego, but I can deal with that because at least he'll do some really positive things that will set up the next president that comes into play. And he'll take it even further. You know what I'm saying? He's just one piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
It's like I said, if Trump only turned on the economic engines and that's all that he did, that would be a major accomplishment because that would thwart the liberal world order immediately. It would stop everything they're doing because they can't have us being prosperous. So that one thing, if he just did that one thing, it would be monumental. Yeah, I hope he goes scorched earth and starts arresting people like Michael Cohen said. Michael Cohen said they're going to take us to Gitmo. Trump is going to take us to Gitmo. He said that. He sounds more like Q. He sounds more like Q than Q.
But what did he do?
I thought it was a joke. He did it in some podcast that he was in talking to somebody. And I thought it was a joke. I thought he wouldn't say that. And he said, he goes, I know Trump. He's going to take us all to Gitmo. We're all going to be arrested and all go to Gitmo. I know Trump better than anyone. And so I hope that's true. I hope if they're guilty of crimes against humanity, I hope that they do face a military tribunal.
Let's give some shout outs.
That is basically what happens if you've committed treason. You face a military tribunal. That's what Brett Kavanaugh said when he was interviewed by Lindsey Graham. Remember that?
got to give some shout outs here to Conquer Stoned over on Live Space, Darth Rips on Live Space, and Robin Dew on Live Space. Thanks for tuning in and checking us out. Hope you enjoyed the
Last
stream.
Space. And if you guys are listening to this, please share this around. We've got another 2 hours of radio to go. So feel free, share this around. There's like tons of time. We are going to be here for a while. We've got a lot to cover. So please share, like, subscribe, all that good stuff.
Yeah, all that good stuff.
I'm munching on a Jack Link meat stick and cheese with the jalapeno cheese in there. So good.
Are we live?
We're broadcasting. Like, we're not live on the air.
Right.
Got to get some habanero chickpea snacks. Have never had these before. I'll let you know what they taste like.
It sounds really good unless they're like rocks, like corn nuts. You know what I mean?
It's
like that consistency.
It's not real hard, but it kind of has that kind of experience.
Corn nuts are like, I'm just gonna break my teeth if I buy a bag of those.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
I don't want to break my teeth. Yeah.
It's not really that hot for habanero. Yeah, definitely subscribe and
like and follow.
Get this out to people, man. We need all the. It's a teamwork thing, man. We're all working together. I mean, every day, that's what CS does. That's what I do. I spread other people's content every day on social media as a keyboard warrior. And then make my own commentary about it. And you guys can take some pieces of this, download it. Go to roll.com and download pieces of it and get it out. How long's this break?
This is a 10-minute break. We got another 5 minutes.
Okay, I'm going to get some water. I'll be right back.
4 minutes.
3 minutes.
Yeah.
1 minute. 30 seconds.
Welcome back.
Have you ever heard of Dorothy Lynch sauce?
What?
Dorothy Lynch sauce.
Nope.
Okay. I wonder if Barry has. It's actually really good. I'd never heard of it either, and I was at the grocery store, and I saw someone buying it, and I'm like, what is that? And they're like, oh my God, it's the best thing in the world. It's the best. So I bought a jar, and it's really good, actually. I was eating some coconut shrimp with fries the other night, and it complemented it very, very well. Shrimp and chips. Shrimp and chips.
Shrimp and chips.
So I told you I lost my keys.
Oh, no, that sucks, man.
Yeah. Fortunately, I had a spare, but I didn't have a
did
spare
tell
for,
me,
like, the compartments.
And you took and found a lady who camped with you, had a same kind of setup,
Mm.
and like 2 out of the 5 or 3 out of the 5 keys fit.
Oh yeah. The last one was to like the last storage bay that I couldn't get into. I got the key to that today. Well, I got a new lock. I had a buddy of mine pick it. So he picked it, got it open, and then I took apart the lock and then like duct taped it down. Not duct tape, like painter's tape.
Yeah.
And so now I got the new lock in my possession. I just swap it. I figured I'd do it tomorrow.
The days, man, putting up the setup.
Yeah, we're did about, I don't know, a 20 panel job that we're working on right now. Pretty big one.
Does that take care of a lot of electricity? Like what kind of percent?
20 panels. It's like 20 400-watt panels. It's huge.
I mean, they're electric. Will they need an electric bill? Just I guess when the sun's not out, maybe, or what?
If you hook that up to your house, they would be paying you a lot of money every month.
Really?
Oh yeah, like one of those panels will run your fridge, no problem.
Okay.
Right? So you got 20 more. Now you want to run a hairdryer for 5 minutes every day? Okay, that's still on the first panel. You know what I mean? The first panel will do all that.
You got 30 seconds.
I got 200 watts. And I'm running my fridge, all my lights, all my, the heater, the everything.
You've
All
upgraded,
my
then, right?
tablets.
You've
No,
upgraded.
that's what I've had. No. I was thinking I was going to upgrade, but then I'm like, why? I don't need to. Like, if I don't need to, why would I upgrade it? Just because I can? Well, I can do a lot of things, but like.
All right, here's the
Yeah,
countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you're live and on the radio side right now.
Welcome to hour 2 of the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show Wednesday night edition. Tonight we've got with us Bullhorn Barry, and we are talking about everything going on in the world. And the Christmas season is upon us.
Mm-hmm.
And talking off the radio, you mentioned a couple Christmas-related stories. Even one that made you say, boy, God's trying to tell us something. What was that one?
I mean, I think it was at the White House today where their Christmas tree just collapsed, just fell over. It's never happened before in all the history of the Christmas tree at the White House. But everything about the Biden regime is just collapsing. They can't even put up a Christmas tree correctly. And it's
well,
kind of funny.
and they've got a bunch of people that they said, go put this up, who don't like Christmas, don't want anything to do with Christmas. And have probably never set up a tree ever, let alone a live one. Are just like, whatever, who cares? It'll stay there, don't worry. And then poof, a squirrel jumps on it and it falls over.
Yeah.
I
would imagine it's a
Christmas
lot
vacation.
like a Chevy Chase Christmas vacation over there with Biden. And
Exactly. Yeah. Who? Hey, what's that? I got a tree. I had a tree when I was a kid. Climb it. It was in the yard. Climb up it.
I mean, who knows?
Tree.
Maybe Biden was like trying to climb it. Who knows? I mean,
yeah, Hunter tried to hide some.
yeah, maybe he
crack
was
up there.
hiding some white powder substance up there. I don't know.
Maybe.
I
Who
won't
knows?
say
It's
what
hard
that
to say.
is. I mean, it's probably just baking
Yeah.
soda.
But I mean, it just goes to show you every administration has treated that with the level of respect that you would expect to be treated. It's a Christmas tree. It's a national Christmas tree. Yet somehow in the Biden administration, it falls over. It just shows me that the people who put it up didn't care. Yeah, whatever. Just do it as cheap and easy as you can. Just whatever. Just get it up so we can take a picture of it and burn it in January 5th, or 3rd.
And
or
that's the Biden way. Remember the bridge that collapsed, that he was going to talk to some particular city about infrastructure and so forth.
Yeah.
And the bridge before, he got there, it collapsed. I mean, everything about the Biden regime is about collapsing everything. Trump was all about, let's rebuild the infrastructure. Our airports are terrible. Our highways are terrible. Let's fix this. And Biden just says, it's kind of like I gave the analogy of a carny that just doesn't upkeep his ride. And eventually the ride just starts falling apart and people start dying off the rides. I mean, this is how the Biden regime and liberals do things. They pay no attention to detail whatsoever. Trump was all about paying close attention to the detail and getting things done right the first time around, not having to go back and fix it and fix it and fix it, or a perpetual state of being broken.
Yeah. Well, and his whole strategy was Build Back Better, right? That was the whole theme of the election, Build Back Better, Biden. Ironically, yeah, because they always name their bills and do it. Whatever they're not going to do is what they're going to do when they're campaigning or when they're trying to sell you something. The Inflation Reduction Act.
We're going to actually raise inflation. Yeah. Exactly.
Anniversary of that, and PBS was like the only channel, talk radio I had. So I was listening to it. Mm-hmm. And I mean, they were going off on the Inflation Reduction Act, the IRA, and it was the best thing you've ever seen. No other legislation has ever done as much for America as this has. And yet it's the single most inflationary bill we've passed in decades. It's got trillions and trillions of dollars we don't have embedded in it. The money that we have to borrow from other nations, from our own citizens, from our own corporations, we have to borrow that money to keep the government running, to just keep our lights on. We've got to borrow. And look what it did to inflation. The Inflation Reduction Act kicked it up to 8%. Mortgages are, I saw somebody talking about an 11% mortgage. They were trying to qualify for a mortgage. They got an offer of 11%. The average median house in America is $400,000. So that's $44,000 a year you have to pay in interest alone to buy the average home at 11%. That's paying off no principal, just the interest. On $45,000 a year, you've got to be making $400,000 to buy the average home in America. Why? Where'd that come from? People used to be able to buy homes multiple times their income levels, Yeah.
And it works perfectly for the leftist, 15-minute cities and stuff. Well, nobody can afford a house and they're not, they're green. We can't really have them boil over. So we'll just build some 15-minute cities and we'll let you live in a micro apartment and we'll have everything put together real nicely for you. And you'll probably go insane because it'll be such small quarters, but that's okay because you'll be saving the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it shocks me. I mean, I look at these trucks now, the F-150, which used to be the entry-level truck. If you're going to get your high school kid a truck, you find them a 5-year-old F-150, you're good to go.
Yeah.
Now a 5-year-old F-150 is like a crazy expensive vehicle.
Yeah.
You wouldn't necessarily buy that for a high school kid, even if they needed a truck for their work. You're looking at 15, 20 year. I mean, I don't even know what to they're so complicated that a mechanic, your kid can't just, hey, something went wrong with my truck. Back in the day, they could just get dad's toolkit or park up next to it, pop the hood, and figure it out. And if they couldn't figure it out, they'd call on dad or their uncle or grandpa or whatever. They'd come out and they'd all put their heads together, figure it out, and have it fixed and running perfect in an hour or two.
Yep.
In most cases, obviously, if you drive trans or something, that's different. But if it's a little ticking or a little weird noise or something, you get to the bottom of it.
And that's probably why a lot of people buy the older trucks and the older vehicles. They can work on them, fix them, and not have that big expense of taking it in. And then you take it into some shop, and if you haven't had them do it before, they could rip you off.
Yeah. And they're so complicated
real expensive, real fast.
All the computers, all the
map sensors,
technology,
all the digital stuff. Yeah, and you got to have expensive equipment to make the measurements from those digital meters and so forth.
Yeah,
Not cheap.
Just getting into a level of complexity that I don't think we need in our lives. A lot of people don't need that. I would think if you could sell me let's say a conversion van that was built with old, stable, trusted and true technologies.